In 2015, when candidate Muhammadu Buhari campaigned and sought election to the office of the president, he was clear from the get-go that his campaign will be focused on the interrelated theme of tackling corruption, dealing with insecurity, and fixing the economy. One of the regions that over the years had suffered the harsh effects of corruption, insecurity, poverty, and neglect was the Niger Delta, a situation that culminated into armed rebellion against the Nigerian state. A presidential amnesty declared in 2009 set in motion a structured chain of disarmament, demobilization and reintegration of 30,000 ex-agitators who accepted the federal government's offer of amnesty and renounced violence and militancy. Successive administrations had carried out the implementation of the terms of the amnesty program, but over the years its implementation has been riddled with controversy. President Muhammadu Buhari, upon resumption of office in May 29, 2015, set out to correct the wrongs and return the program to its original mandate. After initial hiccups, the president's agenda attained its perfect traction with the appointment of Professor Charles Kweke Dakubo, a dogged nationalist and a committed Niger Delta patriot, as the coordinator of the amnesty program. Bound by a collective will of positive change, the president, through Professor Dakubo, has demonstrated a unique and unwavering focus on fixing the challenges, especially with the youth population of the Niger Delta. And so, when the president talks about the economy of the Niger Delta, he sees beyond the oil and gas endowment in the region. He sees the huge human capital potential of the people, and with a committed zeal, the Buhari administration, through the amnesty program, within such a short time in office, has embarked on turning that potential into real-time capital. However, this cannot be achieved without adequate resources. Since coming into office, President Buhari, even with an economy battling biting recession, ensured that the implementation of the amnesty program suffered no neglect. The president's goodwill is in line with his administration's new vision for the Niger Delta. This was emphasized in the 2016 tour of the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, to all the Niger Delta states where he engaged with the key stakeholders on the policy plan of government. 2 years down the line, President Buhari has kept faith with his promises. The Niger Delta is calm, as the government has kept true to its own part of the engagement. Besides the regular 65,000 naira stipends paid to ex-agitators enlisted on the program as part of their reintegration package, the Professor Dakubo-led amnesty program has ensured the continuous sponsorship of the education scholarship schemes for the youths of the region captured in the amnesty program. Also, at the heart of the Niger Delta amnesty program is capacity development, which has been identified as a major driver of growth in any society. This unwavering resolve was demonstrated recently with the formal commissioning of the amnesty program's oil and gas basic training center in Agadagba Obun, Eseodo local government area of Ondo State. The coordinator of the amnesty program, Professor Charles Dakubo, had an assumption of office in March 2018, made the completion and full activation of all the amnesty program's training centers a key priority. These were projects that were at various stages of construction but abandoned by the previous management of the program. Professor Dakubo's doggedness and resilience made completing these training centers a major priority. Apart from ensuring the availability and accessibility of training options for the beneficiaries, it was also a deft cost-saving move that fitted perfectly to the local content drive of the federal government. The amnesty program's training centers are located in Ubuama, Harristown, River State, Kayama, New Borough Town, Bayelsa State, Gelegele, Edo State, Bomadi, Delta State, Agadagbaogbon, Eseldo in Ondo State. Professor Dokubo clearly is on a mission to ensure that these projects are not only completed, but the training centers equipped, furnished, and activated for the vocational training of the remaining over 10,000 trainees still awaiting deployment. It was therefore a dream come true on Friday, January 19, 2019, when one of the training centers, the world-class oil and gas basic vocational training center in Agadagbaogbon in Esodo local government area of Ondo State, came alive. This landmark event has demonstrated the uncommon resolve that Professor Dokubo, with the support of Mr. President, is putting at creating not job seekers but job creators and a highly skilled population of youth entrepreneurs. This ultra-modern training facility is primed to offer up-to-date training in oil and gas technology to ex-agitators whose choice is to compete in the oil and gas sector. The curriculum of the training center was designed with input from a UK-based firm and the prestigious Petroleum Training Institute in Delta State. Deploying his vast academic experience, Professor Dokubo ensured that the training center was duly certified by the National Business and Technical Examination Board (NABTEB). The event was attended by government functionaries at both the state and federal levels, royal fathers, political and community leaders.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today we are gathered here to celebrate another promise that has been ably kept by our forthright, incorruptible leader, President Muhammad Buhari.
The very elated Professor Dokubo did not mince words when he reminded those present that the incorruptible and forthrightness of President Muhammad Buhari ensured that the Oil and Gas Vocational Training Center came to fruition.
We are going to train our people in the best institutions, well maintained, well equipped. Then and only then can we say that we have a place to make them a people looking for jobs and getting jobs at the same time. I know that the President has promised. Members of the House, of both houses, have also spoken that training of this nature should only lay the foundation for us. I thank you very much for giving us this place and for the government for supporting the building of this program. Thank you very much.
The Amnesty program has been very mindful at guaranteeing inclusion among the benefiting states of the Niger Delta. This as much was acknowledged by the governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, senior advocate of Nigeria, who was represented by his deputy Agbola Ajayi, who applauded the coordinator of the presidential amnesty program for actualizing and sustaining the vision and objectives of the program.
Honestly, I must commend President Muhammadu Buhari for providing all this facility and also the initiator of the Presidential Amnesty program. My assessment, my summary is that our people should exploit this opportunity. They shouldn't play with it, and we should guide it and take it as our project so that we can take over the oil industry as already planned by the initiator and Professor Charles Dokubo. Honestly, it's a wonderful thing, and I commend you for this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
The Ooni of Ife, who headlined royalties present at the commissioning, Oba Adeye Enitan Ogunwusi II, could not have been more succinct, proclaiming the amnesty program under Professor Dokubo as a huge success story, which he is proud to be associated with. The monarch was confident that the oil and gas training facility for beneficiaries of the amnesty program will enhance the development of the youths of the region.
You see something that is good, especially to develop the youth of this nation, most especially the people of Niger Delta. I am very proud to be associated with these initiatives, for them to learn more about what that is good that is coming from the environment. So I'm here to be part of a success story, and I thank God Almighty for using the leadership of Professor Dokubo for putting these things right. He's been able to complete it, and I am very happy because of what he said today. Today is his happiest day ever since he's taken his appointment up. So if we have more of good things like this in this country, we will live to enjoy the good things of our youth. So I'm here to support them and for them to continue to do good things.
Professor Charles Dokubo is leaving no stone unturned at providing the best in terms of training for the center. He is poignantly clear that the management of the center will reflect the highest standards obtained globally, and to this end, he announced that the Amnesty Office has already entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Petroleum Training Institute (EFRUN) to enable its faculty members drive the specialized training modules in fields of oil and gas.
It was when they talk about the dividing formula. That's where I call the problem. So my people say, the people don't even acknowledge you. So let's do this thing together in the spirit of oneness. Let's do it so that our people and posterity will only say they've done well for us. I'm not going to be in this office for all my life. But the period that I'm here, I will try as much as possible to impact on the lives of the Niger Delta people. I believe that's the only way out. We cannot continue to complain about marginalization, oppression, repression, adapting the theory of internal colonialism and all that. We don't want to go back to that. We are now going to see ourselves as co-equal in the Nigerian state that belongs to all of us.
It was also disclosed that 200 Amnesty Program beneficiaries have already been profiled to commence training at the Just Commission Agadagba facility in Ondo State. But that is not all. Coming on stream in a matter of weeks are two other magnificent training centers in Kayama, Bayelsa State and Bumadi in Delta State. It couldn't have been more clear that the Buhari administration is deeply committed to the overall development of the Niger Delta. It was not then out of place for Professor Dokubo to appeal to the people of the region to reciprocate the goodwill of the people in order to consolidate on what has been achieved so far, an appeal that was widely and warmly received. It is worth reminding that the faithful implementation of the Amnesty Program and the prudent management of it by the President through the coordinator, Professor Dokubo, is responsible for the stability in the country's oil-producing belt, the Niger Delta. The impact is steady revenue for the development of the entire country. In the 2019 fiscal framework alone, oil revenue, as in previous years, still forms the bulk of national revenue, and is put at 3.730 trillion naira, representing over 60% of the gross estimated revenue for the year.
Presidential Inauguration Day, May 29, 2015, Eagle Square, Abuja. The promise, the facts. 2018, 9% increase in crude oil production year on year. NPDC's daily oil production ramps up from 108,000 barrels per day to 165,000 barrels per day. Fact, 2015, wastages running into billions of naira on so-called pipeline security contracts scrapped. Impact, more savings and resources for development. Fact, did that tell you that Nigeria's oil assets are much safer with fewer cases of sabotage, vandalism and theft of national assets? Fact, when really was the last time you heard of restiveness in the Niger Delta? Did you know that a sustained program of skills and capacity development of the Niger Delta is receiving consistent support and funding by the Buhari administration through the Amnesty program coordinated by Professor Charles Dokubo? Did you know that all this is possible because of the personal commitment of Mr. President? The fact speaks for itself. The facts speak for themselves.
Economic growth in most developed societies is said to be powered by huge corporations, but the small and medium-scale enterprises are said to be the real engines of growth. It is in recognition of the enormous potential of small startups at reducing poverty and the catalytic effect on the local communities that the Presidential Amnesty Office has devoted huge resources in entrepreneurship training. After all, what is the purpose of training and equipping people with practical skills if they cannot use the skills to create wealth for themselves and their communities? Professor Dokubo-led Amnesty program is therefore taking this to the next level. In conjunction with the Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, the Amnesty Office embarked on a massive entrepreneurs fair in which over 50 youths from the oil-rich Niger Delta region showcased their products in a 3-day event that held in Port Harcourt City.
Almighty God, come and set we free. South of Nigeria is in slavery. The giant of Nigeria is in slavery. Nigeria conquest, modern slavery.
According to the Amnesty boss, the fair was designed to project what the budding entrepreneurs trained and equipped with vocational skills and starter packs through the Amnesty program have been able to achieve.
There is also an availability. I've just been told that there's a bank that can give them money to even develop further. So what the office can do is to stand as a guarantee so that these people that at once they are trained and they set up their business centers or whatever they are doing, we can always continue to assist them. Like I always said, it's not only training and abandoning, it's training and putting them in job, work placement. That's what I'm doing now. And for me to have heard from somebody there that there's a provision where even those that have been trained can be given soft loan. This soft loan can be guaranteed by the organization, my organization, so that we just want them to continue with their life, pay taxes to society, and also help others, employ others. The more you employ, the more you become productive, and as you are productive, you pay more tax to government.
Some of the entrepreneurs expressed their delight on how their lives have changed dramatically through the training received.
It is really an eye-opener for me to be here. Well, when I came to this place, I learned a lot of things. My brain has been opened, my thoughts are open. I can now see that there is no limitation to anything. The teachers, the marvelous, the co-students, the coordinators, everybody done well. And I've learned a lot of things that I know from this moment on. When I go out, I am going to be more successful than I was before I came here.
And everything they taught us here is actually what I need, what everyone needs. And the reason I'm really very grateful is because The things we learned here yesterday and the other day and today, these are things people pay usually to learn outside in seminars, and I got it free of charge. So it's actually very amazing. And I know with everything I've learned so far, I'm going to take my business to the peak.
For many here, the negative stereotype about the Niger Delta is fast changing, thanks to the implementation of visible and impact-evident policies of the Buhari-led federal government.
Opportunities that exist, because we have noticed that in this region, especially in the Niger Delta, we have a lot of opportunities that exist, but we are not taking advantage of them, not because we cannot, but because we are not even aware they exist. In the northern part of the country and even the western parts, we have a lot of state governments that are aware of some of these opportunities, and they buy into them large scale, and they subscribe to them for their people. So it's a wake-up call to the Niger Delta. Let's look around. We have a lot of IOCs. We have a lot of private sector that they have CSRs. They have corporate social responsibilities. They are looking for how to better their environment. But most times they don't partner with us because they're not sure if we're doing a good job. So that's why we have come out to showcase to the world that the presidential amnesty program is working. We are focused and we're actually empowering ex-agitators and reintegrating them into the system. And we believe that those same people that were a problem to the region and the nation yesterday will become the solution of today and tomorrow.
The Amnesty Office is not only focused on building the economy of the Niger Delta, but also building the lives of the people. Many poor families had their livelihoods washed away following flood disasters that inundated farmlands and homes. Moved by the pathetic reports of the humanitarian crisis in those areas, the Amnesty Office under Professor Dokubo and the directive of President Buhari swung into action. Relief materials worth over 90 million naira were distributed in several of the worst hit communities in Bayelsa, Ondo, Edo and Delta State. Communities such as Bomadi, Oboro, Esama, Ogodobiri, Pakiama, Patani, Kolawari, Bekabo, among others. Items distributed included mattresses, medicals, toiletries and tons of food items including bags of rice, beans, cooking oil, among several other items. Professor Charles Dokubo said the Amnesty program is for the people of the Niger Delta, and whatever affects their communities can have a direct bearing on their socio-economic well-being.
It has been the desire of the state government and the governor, Dr. Senator Efan Okowa. We have appealed to individuals to assist state government to help to provide some succor to these flood-impacted victims, because naturally the state cannot do it all alone. And a lot of response have been coming, and today coming from the Presidential Amnesty Group is another wonderful thing, and I'm sure the state is excited about it. SEMA is also excited about it. Naturally, my commissioner was supposed to be here to witness this ceremony and receive this item on behalf of the state for the community, but his challenge has to attend other ceremonies. So I'm here to represent the Honorable Commissioner Bureau for Special Duties, Barrister Amnesty.
The obviously relieved recipients were grateful that for once they have been made to feel the impact of governance. This basically summarizes President Buhari's vision for the Niger Delta and indeed the country in general. The core belief that the welfare and security of the Niger Delta people stands supreme. This unwavering resolve is the fuel that powers the giant strides attained by the Amnesty program under Professor Charles Dokubo. For him, it is a journey to the next level of productivity, development and growth for the teeming youth of the region that, like the proverbial goose, lays a golden egg for the Nigerian nation.